In our new series on Romans 11, we're starting by asking the question, why did Paul even write Romans? Hi, I'm Cantor from Tiferet Yeshua congregation right here in Tel Aviv. Stick around to the end to find out how you can get a free ebook that'll equip you as a defender of Israel. In our first episode, we established, 1, that Paul was not the father of the Roman congregation and broke his own rule to write them, and 2, that 40,000 Roman Jews were expelled from the capital city in 49 CE by Claudius because of infighting amongst the Jews over the issue of Yeshua, and 3, Paul meets Priscilla and Aquila in Corinth as they were Messianic Jews that were forced to leave Rome. From this information, we can see exactly why Paul wrote Romans and why he has so much more to say about the Jews than he does in any other book. First, the Jews took something very dear and special with them that the non-Jews did not have. Donald Trump's favorite book. Yes, the Bible. At that time, there was only the Old Covenant, and as Jacob, whom you may know as James, tells us in Acts chapter 15, the place where you could hear the scriptures read was in the local synagogue every Sabbath. Secondly, this meant that the Roman congregation lost all their Jewish members, and probably the leaders, and most importantly, their guiding force, the scriptures. Third, with the expelling of the Jews, there was clearly a growing anti-Semitic sentiment in the capital city. Over time, that sentiment entered the Roman congregation, and attitudes developed against the natural branches, as Paul refers to the Jews. In 54 CE, with the death of Claudius, the Jews are allowed to return, but they return to a very different congregation. The new Gentile leaders did not receive the Jews back with open arms. In fact, it is clear from Paul's writing, where he affirms Israel's call as irrevocable, that they had concluded that God was finished with the Jews. If I had to guess, Paul's dear friends Priscilla and Aquila sent word to him regarding the new anti-Jewish attitude in the Roman congregation. We know from chapter 1 that Paul preferred to visit them, but he was compelled first to go to Jerusalem. Nevertheless, the situation was dire, even to the point, as we will see in chapter 11, that some of those Romans were in danger of losing their salvation. He dictates to Tertius, and Phoebe, the deaconess, hand-delivers this most precious document to Rome. In fact, the great English teacher David Pawson says that this was the first case of that deadly doctrine that claims that Israel has been rejected in favor of the church. Pawson says, when the Jewish believers came back to the Roman church, the Gentile church would not receive them. They were not welcome back because a belief had arisen, which we now call replacement theology. Pawson says that the Roman believers saw God's hand in the banishment of the Jews. In their minds, this was his doing, and he was punishing them for not receiving Yeshua in Mass. Paul is so grieved by this behavior against the Jews that he cries out in chapter 9 that he would trade his very salvation for the salvation of the Jews. In this, he expresses God's continued heart and longing for the Jewish people. Now that's where we're going to pick up in part 3. I hope this video has been a blessing to you. To get my free ebook, The 15 Most Important Facts About the Israeli-Palestinian Conflict, just go to roncan.net/15facts and make sure that the F is capitalized. This video has been brought to you by our congregation Tiferet Yeshua right here in Tel Aviv. For more information, please go to reachtelaviv.org, and while you're there, consider making a donation so that we can continue to share the good news of Yeshua right here in Tel Aviv and bring you more of these weekly videos. Shalom from Tel Aviv, and please don't forget to subscribe.